Truth Frequency Radio. Good morning, TFR.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dudes.
It is Friday, my dudes. And a TGIF to you all. Welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. My name is Josh Corey. And I am joined this morning by some very good friends and co-hosts right here on this little show. We'll start with Mr. L.C. King, Lucas King. Lucas, how's your week been? What you doing? What you up to?
How's my what? Weekend?
Yeah, how's your week been?
That was good. It was pretty sort of horrible weather, so I sort of stayed inside and chilled out. And so you can't complain when that happens, actually. But anyway, yeah, we're on a little bit of a holiday down here, so I'm coming to everyone via the car.
Well, you sound pretty good for being in the car, so.
Oh, no, I brought my whole system and set it up and ran the power to this. You know, we're at a campsite, but we've got like the RV and stuff like that. So, yeah, I set it up pretty well.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's like a little, mobile studio.
That's good stuff. I like it. I need to figure out how to do that. Well, let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. He's got a little channel here on YouTube called Good Times for All. Zach, how are you doing? You awake, sir?
I'm getting there. Still haven't touched my coffee, but it's looking good. I'm coming around. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I thought I fell asleep early. I don't know. Don't remember having any wild dreams that kept me up. Don't remember waking up. I remember closing my eyes and then hearing my alarm go off. It was almost like one of those where you don't feel like you really slept. You ever have that where, you sleep but when you get up, you don't feel like refreshed at all? It was one of those when I got up. It's like, what happened? Did I not sleep at all? What time is it? I don't know. But I'll come around. I love, you guys get me going. One of you will say something, my blow be, pumping and rolling and ready to go. You'll bring up something, some news article or something, and then, it'll be on. So, yeah.
Right. You just go ahead, sit back, take a sip, and we'll head on over and say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson. You might know him as Flat Earth Head here on YouTube. Walter, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, It is Friday, dudes. We're here. We made it. Yeah, interesting night as well. Zach, can't really say what's going on of late. Just not sleeping right. Lots of activity, but not so much. Not necessarily bad things or entities or anything like that. It's just the energy. The dream I had, not last night, but the night before, maybe kind of speaking to what's going on. It was like there was the group, the path, the crew, the tribe, whatever you want to call it, the people that I meet up with when we're doing dream work. And so we're all in a vehicle, and as we come around this corner, the whole sky is doing something I can't explain. It's almost like a point of energy is forming in the sky. But as it's forming and we're all noticing it, we also are realizing, or at least I'm realizing in the dream, that what I'm seeing happening in the sky is actually happening inside my brain, inside my head. It's something that's I'm part of. I don't know. It's one of those things I can't explain. Really can't explain it. But in the dream, it was kind of a sense of just, okay, here we go thing. So I don't know. Don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting for sure. How are you, Josh?
Well, despite the weird energies to which you refer, I think I'm doing all right.
Nice.
We are definitely feeling them here as well. Dixie and I both. Just everybody, it seems like. It just seems like weird energies. I guess, Mercury's in retrograde, so.
True. Very
that.
True. Our good friend, old Mercury.
But I don't know. It's just been really, really strange. Dixie's been having to deal with a lot. I guess for some reason she just couldn't keep the nonsense at bay anymore. She doesn't like to, she lets me come in here and do my thing, and we talk about sort of the craziness that goes on in the world, and she doesn't really delve too deeply into it because she knows it's going to affect her mood like the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. She's going to get depressed and she's going to get angry, and it's going to affect her. So she doesn't really even deal with it.
Not the only one.
Right? Well, it's been to a point where she's just not able to not see it with vaccine talk and just the craziness going on in society and stuff going on, not with her personally, but with people around her and people she's meeting and coming into her life. There's just weird stuff. And I don't know. She may actually come sit in on the show. I don't know if she's going to be in the studio or maybe she'll just be right out in the living room listening. But I think I suggested, she come and do it because that's how I cope. This is my therapy. And I thought it might do her some good to come in and have other people talking about the things that she's thinking about, and yet still work so hard to stay positive and leaning on each other for support and just the basic, family that we've created here over the years that I thought she would really benefit from, to which she thought was actually a pretty good idea. But then there was this guy that is a friend of her friend. And he's just kind of a lost soul, former military, and he's never really acclimated back to civilian life. And he's just having a hard time, again, just sort of coping with who he is and who he knows he wants to be versus the pressures of society and what it is they expect of him and expect him to be, and can't really come to terms with all of that and struggling with all these competing emotions and thoughts and feelings going on inside. And he's just, again, not sure how to handle it. And he's having a really hard time, and introduce Dixie into his life. And, she gets it. She understands. And he's thrilled to be able to talk to somebody that actually gets it. So he doesn't have to apologize for every little thing that he says, because sometimes we talk about weird stuff and we say weird things, and sometimes it can make people a little nervous. But when you have somebody that understands that, and you don't have to always over-explain and apologize and couch your words and wear the kid gloves when you're talking to him. You can just relax and be yourself. It's an amazing feeling. So he's going to probably come over tonight too. So we'll be able to hang out, and I think he's going to listen to the show, which I think will be really good for him. I think him being the most normal person like in the room, I think might do him some good. I really do. So yeah,
cool.
There'll be some really cool stuff going on tonight here in the background, but weird energies nonetheless. I don't know what the hell's going on out there.
Maybe that eclipse. I don't know. I have never kept a journal except for a sun journal. You know, my sun measurements and where the sunspots were and stupid stuff like that. Not stupid. I don't want to. Collecting data is not stupid, but yeah, I've never kept like a journal on how I feel, like day to day, to where I could go back and be like, oh yeah, on this day when, you know, the sun or the moon was like this or the planets were like this, I felt funny. And then, you know, 3 years later, when it was just like that again, I felt funny again. I don't know. I'm not good at keeping notes, though. I'm just not like that. I got to be really, really interested in the subject, like the sun, to, you know, go as far as to take notes that I actually write down. I need to change that. I need to start taking data on myself. I don't know.
You know, speaking of that, like, I had a kinesiology session the other day, and basically what happened was, you know, she took me to where I am now in my life, and then she said, well, what's happening at 34? And then there was something at sort of 2 years old. So there was these connections that sort of spanned my whole life, but they're intermittent. So, you know, even those sort of things can actually sort of play a role, like they're cyclic in your own world in a sense. Yeah, and there's just parallels to different events that have happened previously in your life that sort of correspond to where you are now. So, yeah, I just found that interesting. How it sort of covers, you know, different parts of your life that all sort of seemingly are weaved together.
Yeah, I know in these, sorry, Walt, the occultic circles, they look at the course it takes Saturn to go once around the sun in the heliocentric model. It's like 27 something years. And they say that's when you're like reborn again in some of their circles.
Yeah, and then you've got
considered a life cycle right there.
And you also got the 7-year cycle. That seems to be a really important one, you know, like the 7-year itch, where you sort of go through that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just funny how our sort of, you know, psychologies are sort of somewhat, to me, they seem like they're not, some of it at least isn't time-based. It's more like a connection you would make via association rather than a time-based linear sort of thing. So there's an element to the mind that's, doesn't require time. It requires sort of associations. So, and that may speak to the creative side of us as well, or the intuitive side of us. Yeah.
And they say that, you know, life, the universe, what have you, will kind of throw things at you repeatedly, if you will, till you figure it out. Like, you know, the cycles, kind of like what you were talking about, how this thing suddenly you realize is connected to something exactly the same from 7 or 8 years ago. So definitely the idea of it just keeps coming back around again till you figure it out, work past that groove you're stuck in, that rut, whatever the analogy you want to use. It definitely seems to be a cycle, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're sort of lacking somewhere, then life throws you that thing that will help you, you know, grow through it. Yeah, you might not recognize it the first time, but yeah, gives you more chances basically. So it's good how it does that at least.
So did you guys see any of the photos of the eclipse?
I woke up seeing them in my feed, but I have yet to check them out. I didn't yet. No. Although I did unconsciously when I got up this morning have like a second. I grabbed a shirt in the dark and when I picked it out and got outside with it, I looked down. It was glowing. It was my shirt from the eclipse back in 2015, 17. Lord, I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. So, and then me and the cat had an accident this morning in the bathroom there. She flipped out and jumped on the counter to see me and like threw everything off the counter. So I had to get a new shirt. But anyway, she's learning her way through the house for sure and getting to know every little nook and cranny of it. But anyway, yeah, the cycle nature is something that comes back around cyclically. I read about these earth changes, if you will, that are kind of cycles that, are tied to some of the Native American lore. Mary Summer Rain wrote quite a few books about her experiences with a guide, a mentor, if you will, No Eyes, who taught her quite a few things about the earth and some of the cycles it goes through. And being that we are, at the very least components of this machine, this cyclic machine, then definitely the fact that it does that as well for us, why wouldn't it? Why would we not be part of that cycle? And that could be the energy, like you said, between the retrograde and between us focusing things as intently as we did on Sunday. We could have thrown the groove off doing just that and kind of everything else shifted with it, So while we were aiming at good, just like with a healing crisis, when you do kinesiology, when you do Reiki, anything, you can definitely stir up energy that needs to be dissipated and ground out.
I didn't even think about that, Walter, and that pressure differential that was probably created from Sunday and all of those energies. Yeah.
It just hit me that psychology kind of has the word cycle in it.
Yeah.
I know they're spelled different and everything, but the same,
Yeah, when I was having that session, like she was talking to me, like she was like, "Well, you're the only person I don't really get to talk to people that are actually, know what's going on and have a fair idea about, and feel the same way that she does about what, vaccines or whatever it is." But yeah, so she was sort of offloading a little bit on me, but it was good because, it's good to connect with other people that are, in the same line of thinking. And so she was asking me, what do you think is going to happen? I was like, I don't know. This is sort of above my pay grade to a little bit. I have my own thoughts, but there's sort of, I listened to Jeranism today. He said, I can see two outcomes, with all this stuff. You either have a really good correction and things turn out well, or it goes the opposite way. And I'm sort of in that state of mind as well, that we actually, something good comes out of it, or we go down a road that we don't really want to even think about, I think.
Yeah, I see it a little differently. I see it's going to turn to shit no matter what.
Yeah.
But we will have a chance to come out of it and be on top. That's up to us, though, But yeah, I think things are going to get bad. And it's nothing to do with us or what we're doing. It has to do with the sheep following along, or the whatever you want to call them, just walking off a cliff. And I think the hardest part is going to be trying to help them not walk off the cliff without turning them against us.
Wasn't that St. Patrick and the snakes? Didn't the snakes all follow St. Patrick off of a cliff or something like that?
It was something like that.
No,
Pied Piper.
The lemmings. Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah, I think that's one of my greatest sort of, not sort of a fear, I guess, is the other people. It's not myself, it's not my family, it's not that. It's like, really, they're walking around just obeying everything they're told without even questioning it. It's just, whoa, can't bear to think of it, honestly.
Yeah, I have to say, I never thought that it would go this far without breaking. I didn't think they could bend these people this far before they finally break. I mean, these people are like a wet noodle. You could tie them in a knot 10 times. It's weird how they're just, like you said, they're just folding over and doing whatever they're told.
Like, without even sort of, the weirdest thing is, like, you've got a device in your pocket or whatever it is, or access to a computer that basically you can type in whatever and get some sort of result, or even follow a thread. It's like you've never spent 15 minutes, 20 minutes just even checking the it's nuts.
Yeah, well, it's almost to the point, Lucas, that it's not that easy anymore. These things in our pockets are becoming useless for information gathering. It is so controlled that it's almost pointless. There's you can't find a lot of information. You can find a lot of articles on one side, but you're not going to find any balanced information.
I was thinking that very thing just days ago, Josh. Interestingly enough, I was remembering this old app or site or something we used to have that was just like a gatherer of the best out there information there was on the internet. That me and my buddy Trippy McGee used to pass some interesting stories back and forth through that. And I was just, in fact, there may have been a story we talked about of a newer site that's kind of a throwback to that recently. I'll have to look back and find the name of it. Anyway, the idea is that it brings you this stuff you wouldn't normally come across easily, just because the internet has so much information out there. But as you say now, these days, it's so controlled, so directed. It's almost like they pulled the ultimate bait and switch. All of us got excited. Oh, I've got this place I can go and put up a video with truth on it. Oh, I've got this device. I can go look up some really crazy stuff I never knew before, and let me show this to other people. And then you start showing it around. And when they go on their little device and try to find that same shit, it's like, I don't see anything that dude's talking about. He's a nut job. So it reinforces the knee-jerk reaction, and they can't find a fucking thing. And here we are with our little, videos and devices going, but it's all right here. Apps. Where's Dave at? Dave, hello. So yeah, it's pretty bad. The control mechanism it has become. It fooled us all for a minute, though, didn't it? Or at least some of us.
Well, yeah, you can't research stuff like you could even 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And it's not just flat Earth. I've noticed with businesses, when you go and try to search for a local business and say you want to buy, some type of propane or something like that. Well, you'll get, the big ones, Ace Hardware, Lowe's, places like that. You don't get the mom and pop shop down on the corner. They don't, even if you search for their shop, it doesn't come up. It's crazy how Google kind of determines who you're allowed to search. Even though, the mom and pop shop would have had at least something like a Yelp review or something. Somebody had put something out on the mom and pop store at one time. Even if it wasn't them, they don't have their own website and page and all that. You could find people that had these. There were, a bunch of different review places that had all kinds of local shops and businesses. Now, you don't find any of that anymore. At least I don't when I search. I get, everything's Home Depot, Lowe's, this and that. You never get the smaller shops anymore. When I used to, in North Judson, I'd be able to look up the feed barn. And they didn't. That guy barely used the internet. But his shop was on the internet, and you could look it up. And, if you need dog food in your local area, this and that, it would be one of the selections. Now, nope, they don't give you stuff like that.
Unfortunately, when I was like right at the end of me being involved in a lot of the radio stations around the area, I noticed as things moved from the analog world to the digital world, the online world, we would constantly get calls from these companies who were offering to get us listed on these different sites. And, whereas most people kind of think the internet's this, I guess, organic thing where things just kind of happen, it's driven by money all the way across the board. And so that was the deal. You pay them to get you into something, which you probably can sit and do yourself if you play with all your settings and send the right emails to the right AdSense here and this, that, and that there. But definitely it's money driven, and some of the local tinier businesses, number one, don't have a clue about how the online world works, and number two, wouldn't even be able to afford,
that's it,
what would be the fees to get involved in it. So most of the time, or at least half the time, that's a lot of what that's about, especially here, like when I'm in this small town I live in with new businesses popping up trying to make it, and you're trying to find them, and they're not even listed at all. You got to go to their Facebook page, and that's kind of a bad direction to point people for advertising. Hey, look at this. Speaking of advertising, we're about to have some.
Yes, we are. We are
indeed.
Wow. Well, this is the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, where we're trying not to get buried by the search engine optimization. Stick around, we'll be back for the second segment of the Ironworx right after these brief messages.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again. So I placed another order because this was the only thing that ever worked. I just wanted to let you know that you have a great product.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural. And that's what I like about it. I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. I am a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
The sleeper has awakened!
Wake up! Wake up!
Welcome back. Second segment of the Ironworx kicking off right now. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to play, then decided I better give up because I'll just sit here and overthink it while silence happens, and I'll just unmute and start talking because that's going to be the best way. But welcome back.
So I contacted the city of Charleston. I don't really know who
Everybody?
to ask.
The whole city?
Well, like their city website type thing.
Oh, gotcha.
I just want permission. I don't know, with the whole terrorism, we have to fear, everybody, that I don't want to go ahead and just go do it and be on the little island where the giant bridge foundation comes down to the ground. And I don't want, a bunch of people coming out there with guns being like, oh, what are you doing? Are you trying to blow up our bridge? Blah, 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 blah. So I'd like to have, just let somebody know.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
Yeah, so I've contacted them and I haven't heard anything back yet. I'm not 100% sure, who to contact. So I just went to the city site and asked for information on, who would I contact to try to get permission.
Trolls.
We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, scientific research group, and we would just like permission to be able to do this, yada, 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 or recreating a Lockheed Martin engineer drop test, this and that. I threw it all in there, and I've done this at other places, and
but never under a bridge, right?
Yeah, never under a bridge. They've always been in hotels and stuff like that. Yeah,
well, as
right.
long as you're wearing your white lab coat, I think you'll just fine.
Hey, dude, you've got immunity. You put that bitch on, you can get in anywhere, sir.
Make sure you don't forget the little tag on the
little
tag
plastic,
on the
little plastic with some bullshit. It doesn't matter what it actually says, as long as it's in the little. You got to have the little clippy though. If you don't have the little clippy,
and put your face on there.
Hey guys, there's a bit of a request here in chat.
Lots of love.
Yeah, Threads in Time is having a bit of a hard time right now and is requesting we send some love. So I want to make sure that everybody stop and just focus. And you know what? We on Sunday, Walter, we wanted to work this into a more regular thing into our shows. And we totally forgot on Tuesday. First rattle out of the box, and we completely forgot.
I thought about it after the fact. Yep. Well, this is a perfect opportunity then. If anybody in this family is in need, reach out, as we've said a lot of times.
I'm going to maybe just set a timer for 30 seconds. And I want to spend 30 seconds. And not just for Threads in Time.
Some positive vibes right now, folks. Send them out there.
Yeah, and to Threads in Time specifically, but also just sort of in general. because again, there's a lot of weird energies going on and a lot of people feeling the weird energies, a lot of
Yeah.
people not sure. Dixie said it yesterday. Watching people who don't normally have dealt with like a clinical depression, watching these people feel depressed and not understand it, not know why they're sad.
Right.
It's really, it's for your first time with depression, it can be a lot to wrap your brain around and a lot to handle. So,
especially when it's not what they've been fed on the commercial every
Mhm.
break. It's not how they show it on TV. It doesn't, there's not a cute little cartoon cloud following me around. What the hell?
nope, so let's just take 30 seconds. Hopefully we won't let any of these silence detectors trigger. But take 30 seconds to just send some positivity and love out there for all the people going through stuff right now, but specifically, again, threads in time. Lots of love to you. And we'll just take a moment of silence, just 30 seconds to refocus and send some love out.
Nice. Very nice.
Dismissed. Go away. Jesus.
Oh, Alan. Great idea. Alan didn't see it. Had my eyes closed. Alan suggested we chant Om. Right. I didn't see it, brother. Surely could have done such a thing. Get a little harmony going, hit that right frequency. Shoot. Next time. Next time. Thank you, brother. Should have thought of that ahead of time.
Beating on with his bowls.
Right. Yes, yes.
Only Iron Row Media can work silence into a radio segment.
Well, we have been
That's
practicing
true.
for a few years, so.
No, much love, Threads in Time. I
Truly.
nothing but the best for you. I hope your
Absolutely.
rest of your day or night or whatever it is, I hope things start to look up. Things will get better.
And as many people there in chat have said through the chat, we'll say it here, you're never alone. We're all connected. I know that sounds so cliche and oh my goodness, but it's true. That's why we're here. That's why y'all there in chat are there. That's what we've done is form this family together. So yeah, anytime reach out. If you haven't connected with us there and I say us as if I'm there all the time, but we do have a Telegram chat that I occasionally dabble into, and there's a great bunch of people there who are always throwing love back and forth, lots of great laughs. You're welcome to pop into that. It should be linked up, I believe, in the description. Is that connect? Yes, it's there somewhere. If not, we'll fix it. So hang out. Definitely. You are part of the family and the family.
That's right.
So, sort of switching gears a bit.
Surely.
I've been doing some research on this thing called the photoelectric effect. And basically, it's where you can shine light at metal or some sort of element, and basically it'll electrically charge and send out electrons from that metal that you're shining the light on. So it's the light that energizes the piece of metal or whatever it is. So, I was looking in that in regards to the moon and things like that. And then, I was sort of, once I looked at that, I was like, oh, well, let's have a look at the spectrum of the moon, what they say the light spectrum of the moon is, as a, and so it's actually quite difficult to find any information on, other than, yes, it reflects the light of the sun. And it's like, well, let's just take that as bullshit for now. And so what I've come across is basically the moon seems to be, absorbing ultraviolet light frequencies, which is interesting in itself. So And just a little rabbit hole for people maybe to think about if they're interested in that sort of thing.
Have you ever had a radiometer to play with, Lucas? I'm sure you have, right? Back being the scientific dude you are. It's the little.
No.
It's like a. It looks almost. Let me think how to remember to describe it. Okay, it's almost like a light bulb shape, but instead of a filament inside, there's this little. Imagine if you took a windmill and instead of it being vertical, you set it horizontal, and it's got black and white sides. And when you shine a light on this device, it starts spinning because of the different reaction of the black and white of the little. Let me find a picture of one and send it.
Yep.
It has to be
I've definitely heard of that.
strong of a light, though. The light has to have an
Yeah, most of them you had to sit out in the sun, that kind of thing. Right.
I know my halogen light out here that I have, the work halogen light, because someone sent Cammy one of those. It's the globe, and when the sunlight hits it,
it's a globe. That's awesome.
It starts rotating. Yeah,
I never saw all the ones I ever saw playing with them growing up, and then I had a few with my science kits that I would get almost every Christmas. Were all just clear, like I said, looked like a light bulb, but it had a base it could set up on. Yeah, exactly the one I just found. Here, I'll send it to you, Lucas, and share with everyone.
Yeah, I just find it interesting, like this UV sort of stuff. Like, is the sun more on the, if we're looking at polarity, is the sun more on the, infrared spectrum, the heat spectrum? And they say with UV light, they say UV light will not be converted to heat efficiently because UV wavelengths are absorbed most strongly by valence electrons. The electrons involved in chemical bonding. UV radiation is much more likely to cause individual bonds to break in a molecule rather than cause the whole molecule to vibrate, aka create heat. So, this is, if we're looking at a cold moon and a hot sun sort of thing, UV light would be more in alignment with that sort of cold, manifestation.
Yeah. Hence cold moonlight.
So yeah, just interesting, and more people that actually say maybe have access to something that is able to check the spectrums of the moon's light and get a good reading over a period of time. I mean, this would be pretty invaluable, I'd reckon.
Yeah, more data. Now that we know these things like this, I even think like the temperature difference between during the day when the sun is out, when you have your full moon that isn't shining on you, or if you have a new moon where you're feeling both the sun and moon effects in one area, is it a little bit cooler always on those days?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, like, when you're looking at like the photoelectric effect, basically the more light, well, that represents the more energy. So when you're seeing a full moon, it represents the maximum amount of energy that's coming out of it. Obviously, that seems pretty, obvious on the face of it, but we've got another bit of scientific data that would actually, show that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Thought I'd bring that, share that. That was my little sharing.
Yeah, that was awesome because you've done two things. You made me remember that toy I used to have, not toy, it's a scientific device. And now I've gone down the rabbit hole of this American Science Surplus site, which you guys should go dig around in. I gave you the link on the chat and here in our chat, Lucas. So, yeah, quite a bit of things to play with. Y'all remember the science store in the mall? Anybody? Mm-hmm. Anybody old like me? I know Cammie does. She and I have talked about it a few times. This is like the online version. It's awesome. Amazing stuff. I mean, crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'll stop. I'm off the site now.
I'm going to be super.
I had that kit. Okay, I'll stop. I really will stop.
Let's see what else we got going on.
Hank Pank and pig stretching. Min is taking care of business.
Oh, you let her out. That's good. Bob was in earlier.
Yeah,
He
Bob
was
had
telling
that.
you
Yeah,
He's like, let the dog out or whatever.
Yeah, they went and did some business.
You want to tell people about that Mercury sort of receiver, Zach?
Yeah, I know. Glowbusters might possibly be diving into this deep on Sunday. But yeah, one of my buddies, A. McKenzie, big shout out, down there in the Bradenton region. Yeah, I remember this antenna that he built. You know, just take a couple pieces of wire, you run some electricity through it, connect it up, and you have an antenna. And it worked good. He'd get 10, 15 channels of the local high def channels coming in. Some of them would be real scratchy and this and that. Some would be better. Well, he was doing a little research and he hooked up a mercury light bulb to it and ran it in parallel with this antenna that he built. And now he gets over 100 channels and there is no static in any of them. It's just like a
unreal.
Really?
Just adding a light bulb to it that had some mercury in it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, there's something to it. There's something with mercury and what he was
you and
looking
I
at
saw.
it
Go ahead. Sorry.
is why are they putting all these mercury in vaccines with
Right.
aluminum and all this other stuff? Are they actually turning us into antennas that makes it easier
improving
for them to
our
send their
antenna.
signals? Yeah.
Or altering
yeah.
it so it picks up a different frequency than it should, perhaps. Well, you and
I would say it's the opposite of
the. Oops, I'm sorry, Lucas. Damn, I'm having trouble keeping my sound right.
Nah, that's all right. I was just going to say that I would say it's the opposite of making us effective antennas in a sense.
Well, adding things that would be, used in this type of thing, I mean, that doesn't seem that it would dampen. And if anything, it would change the frequency, changing the salt levels, changing But Zach, when you and I were taking the pictures here of the church and we're looking at those lightning rods on top of the parsonage right there next to the church, we could see that when you finally got the good camera out, that there was some kind of silver stainy looking liquid residue from inside those glass balls there. So apparently they had mercury in them.
Yeah, that's right. And then there was I brought it up before, which was the arc rectifier. And this is it's a crazy looking device. But what it does is it takes AC electrical signals and runs them through this mercury that when it heats up, it just turns into a vapor and then drops back down and cools down and then drops back into it's liquid again. So it never runs out. But what it does is transfer from AC electrical current into DC. And, I've theorized that this is actually what's taking a place in on a planetary scale as well, that we're in a DC system and you would need mercury to keep the frequencies in balance in a sense, not allow things to go too far out. So Mercury's job is to basically maintain that frequency balance in the whole system. Interesting idea.
No doubt.
I like that. I'm sorry, my brain is broke now again. You got me thinking on this stuff.
I know I'm off digging through lightning rod balls now, my damn self.
And it also kind of goes to show why they have tried to remove mercury from the hands of anybody, playing with it and testing with it.
Right. Yeah.
It's so receptive to any energy, even like your thermometers and things like that. So receptive to that. The other thing, speaking on UV light, mercury is used to create UV light. So that's pretty much the only way you can create it, as far as I know.
I'm sorry, my brain just broke. So not only were there mercury glass balls for lightning rods, apparently I'm looking at a set of 6 antique mercury glass doorknobs. So think about that idea of like, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. So they had access to silver and kept healthier than the poor people did. So now, not only that, they had these mercury freaking door fixtures that they touched on a regular basis coming in and out doors.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
That's crazy. So they're
It's
actually
nuts.
taking
Here, let
in
me
a little
show
bit
you
of
the
mercury every time they go home.
Yeah, hang on. I'll show you the picture of them. It's freaking nuts. Look at this. Let me make a.
Yeah, in India today, they still eat raw mercury.
Look at
They
this.
transmutate, or not transmutate, but they can, they can change the liquid mercury
That's
from
right.
a liquid into a solid at room temperature. With their hands, they can do this. They don't use any special devices or this or that. They make it in their hands, and then they eat it. Raw mercury, they eat it. Lots of people, not just certain people that turn around and go and throw it all up in the back room when no one's looking. The whole church, everybody in there, in the room, sits down and they have like these big plates of mercury with like different flavoring on top, and everybody goes by and eats a little bit of mercury.
Yeah, and they have those sort of little statues. I think they're called omphalos or something like that. Maybe I got the name wrong, but it's along those lines. And they're like a little, it's like a, how do you describe, like a cone or type of hard mercury. And they will sort of worship that and use it as something to do with mental faculties. So it's always got this association with mind as well. So, yeah, it's funny because I did see a video where this guy is basically just drinking a cup of mercury. He worked in a mercury factory. I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. So whatever the actual mercury and whatever they're actually along the lines of the vaccines might be two completely different things.
Processed mercury that's when it starts becoming toxic. When I forget what it's called, but they process it and they do something to it. They change it a little bit, and then it becomes toxic to humans. They claim that's how Isaac Newton died, trying to figure out how the people in India were just eating mercury. And, that was their philosopher's stone, supposedly. That's what the people from India say. All these people from the West came over here and thought that we had the ability to live forever and this and that. He's like, no. He has a mercury, like, talisman around his neck that he has gold flakes, that he sat there on the table and he pulled out these gold flakes and he surrounded it around the mercury, and the mercury just absorbed it. The gold changed into the mercury. It just absorbed all that gold. And then he said, when you're out in the jungle or wherever you're at in the desert and you can't find any food that you can eat, what we do is we take some clean water in a cup, we dip our talisman in it a few times, and that gives us all the energy we need to keep going. We can live off that for amounts of time, just the energy stored in that little talisman around their neck. And that was their elixir of life. That was their philosopher's stone. It wasn't a red rock like in Harry Potter. It was a solid piece of mercury at temperature that they had, over the years and years and years, by adding the silver and gold and different, elements to it, have then transmuted it into something more than just mercury or more than just gold or anything like that. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's when you start looking at the substance, it's just trippy because I was seeing this guy basically had a big bucket and he put one of those anvils that you use for blacksmithing, and I think he said it was about 110 pound, and it floated on the mercury, and he was like pushing it down and it's sort of waving in there, and it's just like, yeah, it's pretty amazing to watch that sort of thing. Just what a strange sort of substance it actually is. with all these different properties. There was another guy putting a battery in there and it would move the battery around. It was just, it's got some fascinating properties.
And I think that's, like we said earlier, that's the reason that they have brainwashed everybody into thinking it's toxic and poisonous. And, I knew a guy, he was like a maintenance guy at a high school for 2-3 decades, something like that. Well, when a thermometer would break, he would collect the mercury, and he had a jar, big jar of mercury, and he would not come off it because I wanted it.
When I was a kid, every time a thermometer broke, it was a joyous time in my house, because not only did we as kids want to play with it, but my mom was just as fascinated with it and would play with it and let us play with it. So I don't know what that did for me, but definitely I played with way more than my fair share of mercury growing up, because I would accidentally, break a thermometer. Oopsie.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of really does.
So I believe that's going to do
like
it,
almost
gents.
everything.
We are right up on
We
it.
are coming up hard.
We are at a break. Hells
indeed. This is the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Simulcasting across the plane, YouTube, Odyssey, DLive. There's a few other places you can find us. Anyway, we'll be right back after these brief messages for the second half of the Ironworx. Right after this.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
A military base on lockdown. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Officials at Joint Base San Antonio in Texas have been investigating reports that 2 suspected shooters fired shots from off base, then fled on foot. There are no injuries reported. They're working with San Antonio police to clear the area and search for the shooters. President Biden just landing in England to begin his first foreign trip as president, 3 countries in 8 days and 3 summits with the G7, NATO, and Russia's president, telling reporters before he left this morning it's about strengthening alliances.
This is a high-stakes trip to Europe in which President Biden will be watched closely and assessed on how he manages to unite the G7 and NATO partners and rebuilds alliances that have frayed in recent years.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Meantime, the president reportedly plans to announce a plan to buy 500 million more doses of COVID vaccine to share with the world. It wasn't about the photo op. That's the conclusion in a new government report that says President Trump's picture at a historic D.C. church was not the reason protesters were forcibly cleared from a park near the White House.
The Interior Department's Inspector General says U.S. Park Police removed crowds protesting the death of George Floyd so that a contractor could get started installing new fencing. About 30 minutes after police used pepper pellets and flashbangs. Then President Trump walked across Lafayette Park to deliver a short speech in front of St. John's Church while holding a Bible. The watchdog report found the clearing of the park was justified, but that law enforcement agencies failed to communicate adequately with each other and did not give sufficient warnings to protesters.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland at the White House. A Trump-era rule that narrowed the types of waterways qualifying for federal protection is now formally under review. The Biden administration filing legal action. The former president said the rules imposed unnecessary burdens on business. America is listening to Fox News.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Good morning. Here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
He likes the way I talk, and I like the way he talks. Mm-hmm.
And welcome back to the Ironworx for the second half. Kicking off right now. Little Stephen Hawking.
I agree, Stephen, 100%. That Mars 360 view bullshit looks like crap. Did you guys see that one? They just released it. You can go and do a 360 view of where the rover was at blah, 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 blah.
Devon Island.
Yeah. So instead of looking around the landscape, first thing I did, I looked straight up. And the sky looks ridiculous. You can tell that it was a bunch of different pictures all stuck to it. Wasn't a 360 cam that took this picture. Here, I'll find it and drop it in chat.
No, you can buy 360 Studio software. You can make it in Premiere Pro. I mean, they have 360 video effects. You can build your own 360-degree environment. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, this one doesn't even look real.
Yes, even you, Stephen. Even you. You just blink. Just blink a bunch. You can build your own 360-degree VR environment.
But yeah, I couldn't believe that this was what they used. Of course, there's no clouds anywhere. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for clouds. And then if you look straight up on it, you can see where everything is all spliced together because the sky was a bunch of different colors. So you see this giant, weird shape where all the lines are converging to one point in the center. Not so much like a cross, it's more like an 8-sided cross where all the 8 points all come and stick together at the top.
So here's what I want you to do. Go over to Rogue Nation and check out some of his 360 work and do the same thing. Because he usually carries a 360 camera. And I doubt he's building these environments in these police stations and these places where he's going so that he can fake it all. But I'd be real curious to see what the sky looks like on a 360 camera that we know not to be from NASA.
Power does what it wants. Power does what it wants. Power does what it wants.
That's the one.
Little Rogue Nation for you there. Great First Amendment auditor. One of my favorites. Yeah, I just love the way he does it. He's real polite and nice until you give him shit, and then he just starts giving it right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the auditors that start off, just like you would a conversation with anybody. They're real nice and polite and cordial, and yeah, we're just here doing this and that and blah blah blah. And then as soon as you start being a smartass, though, it's like flipping a switch with some of these guys. Like, okay, well, I was being very polite. If you want to see asshole, I can show you asshole 10 times better than you can.
I just watched one last night that was really funny. It was a longer one, and I think he ended up getting arrested. I haven't even been able to finish it yet, but I think in the show title it said he was arrested. But Texas Sheepdog was down at the Alamo, and I guess the Alamo Park Police were giving street performers a hard time, telling them where they can and can't be, and he took issue with that and was going to go down there and put on a performance to have the security come and tell him where he can and can't be. And his size compared to the street performers they were running off, and just him challenging them. This dude stripped down to his underwear just because he knew he could, because he's not showing anything. But it was just a hilarious interaction. And just watching him basically put on a show. This is me pretending to be angry, and I'm going to be angry and get in your face and challenge you. And it was been really good so far. I'll see if I can't find you that link, Zach. It's excellent from what I've seen.
I'm going to have to watch that one. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of these First Amendment auditors, I think the cops are starting to, we're seeing a new stage for the cops where they're like fed up and tired of this. And yeah, it's almost to the point where all the ones that were going to quit have quit because of this. And now it's people that just are sick and tired of it, can't find a new job. And I mean, it's not like it used to be, especially with YouTube now. Young children seeing how cops are, I don't want to say treated, but how people are learning what they can and can't say to a police officer without, going beyond their rights. And they're not getting the respect they used to get. When I was young, if I would have seen one of these videos with people talking to police, I would have freaked out. Like, what? You're not allowed to speak to a police officer like that, But in reality, you are. I was watching a movie, Gran Torino, last night. And the police officer told this priest that was there watching the guy's house because he knew something bad was going to happen. And the police said, "Look, Father, we can't stay here anymore. We've been here for hours. Our sergeant is telling us we have to leave." And then the priest said, "Well, I'm staying here." And the cop was like, "Nope, I have orders." The sergeant said, "Since you came with us, you have to leave with us." And the priest was like, "Oh, okay," and just got in the car and walked away or drove away. And I was like, yeah, this is what they want you to think in movies. This is what they show you. This is how you're supposed to act when a cop tells you this. When in reality, if he didn't want to go with that cop just kidnapped him. The cop has no right to tell him where he has to go or to say, "You have to get in my car." If you're not under arrest, they can't tell you to do anything. If you're not breaking a law, then they can ask you, or they can lie. One of the new favorite questions is, I forget who it is, maybe New Hampshire. I don't know, there's so many of them now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just like, his favorite question is, "No, that's not true, is it?" Yeah, you're lying right now, aren't you? We both know that's not true, right? Those are like his favorite questions because legally the cops can lie to you. They have every right to tell you that they have the right to do this and that and blah, 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 and you have to listen to them, and this is a lawful order. They can do that. But you have to know your rights and say, nope, I'm not going to go along with that. And then if they put their hands on you, then it turns into something. But yeah, they can tell you anything they want. It doesn't have to be the truth. And that's his favorite question. Well, we both know that's not true, right? Well, you kind of know you're lying right now, right? Yeah, I love it. It's just they don't know what to say.
Well, the only thing, you know what? When I think about law, I just think, there's really only one law to me, and that's, do no harm. So whatever you're doing, if you're hurting someone's property or person or whatever it is, then you're outside the law. But,
everything but their feelings. Don't give a shit about their feelings. If I hurt your feelings,
yeah.
Find a shoulder to cry on. Sorry about your luck. But yeah, exactly. If you don't hurt their property or their persons or anything like that, or stop them, from doing something, stop their persons from moving, then yeah, you're not breaking the law.
Well, that's why, like when if you're speeding in a car, you've really done no harm. And, they pull you up and give you a ticket and things like that, but you haven't done anything to hurt anyone. And it's not until you actually do something that, impacts someone else, then you're actually breaking the law. So, they're outside of the law when they're doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and a lot of them are losing their qualified immunity. That's another good 2 words to bring up to a police officer, and then they put those oh shit goggles on. You tell them, yeah, you need to be careful. You're about to lose your qualified immunity. And then it's okay. I'm going to call the sergeant and get my superior down here and let them, make the call. But yeah, there's a few little phrases and words out there that if you throw them out to a cop, they start paying a little bit more attention and taking you a little more seriously. And I still can't believe how many cops. You would figure by now it should be like required reading. Cops need to go home and watch a YouTube video on First Amendment audits, what to do and what not to do. Because there's quite a few videos where you do see the cops come up. They don't ask for their name or nothing like that. Hey, guys, we got a call. We know you're not doing anything wrong. Please just don't block their entrance. As long as you're not on their property, there's nothing we can do to you. You guys have a good day. And that's how it should be. I understand that the cops have to come out because someone called them. Nobody wants to call the cops and be ignored. But so many cops come up to the First Amendment auditors and start hassling them, when in reality, they just need to go up to the people who called and say, hey, they're not doing anything wrong. We understand that it makes you uncomfortable and you may not like it, but they're acting totally within the law. There is nothing that we can do about this. It's best to just go back to work, go back to whatever you're doing, and try to ignore them. Or put up a fence. If you want privacy, create it. But those are the laws. So yeah, it's slowly happening. It's coming around. But of course, you still have some of the good old boys that have never even heard of YouTube yet. And yeah, those cops need to retire. The good old days are over. I'm sorry. Everything's being recorded, video, audio, and it no longer depends on your video recording because everybody's carrying cameras around now. I love that when cops say, well, I'm recording you too. And then the guy says, well, yeah, well, mine doesn't come up missing before the court date. None of the data on mine is going to get damaged.
So Zach, in the chat, I here on Skype, I put the link to, it was News Now Ninja is the channel that I was watching, but he was out there with Texas Sheepdog and a few others for that one at the Alamo. But I've also included one that I think San Joaquin Transparency.
Ninja, that guy's been arrested so many times.
He has. But with a name like that, I just had to assume he was, an ICP fan. And the big Hatchet Man tattoo on his forearm and the tie-dye and dreads, I think, confirms.
Long dreads, yeah.
But,
yeah, I like that guy.
I've also included one from, pretty sure it was San Joaquin Transparency. About 6 months ago, there was a channel out there, real young auditor. He started doing like videos on YouTube at 16. He didn't want to start auditing until after he turned 18. So then once he turned 18, he started auditing. And about 6 months ago, it got shot and killed by police during an audit. And sure enough, no body cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
No dash cam footage.
Imagine that. Yeah, that's why it's important. Any interaction you have with the police folks, you don't have to sit there and hold the camera in their face, even if it's just an audio recording, for your protection. Just like everybody else, there are good cops out there and there are bad cops. There are cops out there that get caught planting drugs on people. It does happen. It happened this year multiple times already. Police are being fired for doing things like this. So
you
it
ever seen
is
the movie Training Day?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you have your good cops that would never think of doing anything like that, that join the force to, help their community. And then there are those that, join the force to have one up on everybody. Have that inside track to the whole law system and be able to manipulate it the way they want to. There are those people out there. But yeah, the police are being held accountable in ways like they never have been before. And it's because the citizens are holding them accountable. That's how a society works. The citizens have to be active in a society, or else tyranny reigns. So yeah, I nothing but mad respect for all these First Amendment auditors, people doing this stuff. I don't have the nerve to go out there and do it. Yeah, nothing but mad respect for all these guys. And even though I don't appreciate some of their tactics and the ways they go about it, they're more confrontational than anything, and I think that kind of just widens that divide between the citizens and the police. But there are a lot of them out there that are trying to narrow that gap and have, made, I don't want to say so much friends, but have acquaintances in the police force now, and they know each other real well. They walk up, say, "Hey, how's it going? How you been? Haven't seen you in a couple of days. This and that, blah blah blah." Yep, take it. They know the drill. They don't hassle them anymore. So it's happening. Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not gonna change our world in a day. But there's a lot of people out there making steps in the right direction, and I commend every one of them for it.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. Having to face down armed men with the permission to, at the very least, haul you off and put you in a cage against your will. At most, just shoot you dead right there in the street.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, I was in my shed. I was doing some music, and I heard this bang, loud bang, and I'm like, "What is that?" I thought something must have fallen over, or something outside. And then I went outside, and I'm like, I looked over across the street just the other night, and there's about 3 cop cars, and there was about 8 police all running around and ducking down, and they all had their guns out and stuff. And this bloke, he wasn't from in town. He let a shot off and had a shotgun. But he ended up this guy. Well, I was watching for a while, and this guy with the shotgun, he was obviously off his head a bit, but he ended up walking down the street with the shotgun. He didn't have it lifted up or anything like that, and the police are following him. Put the gun down and all that sort of stuff. And they obviously knew who he was, but they refrained from shooting him. And he walked back into his house, and they must have got him later on when he settled down or whatnot. But it was good to actually see that they use their common sense and knew that he was, not really a threat in a sense, and just let it play out slowly rather than just, shoot him in the street or something like that. So there's still some good things that happen like that.
Yeah, that's
still
wild.
nuts, man.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy.
There was a 12 and 14-year-old, 12-year-old little boy and a 14-year-old little girl who decided to play Grand Theft Auto with the cops. They went and got a bunch of guns, rifles, and shotguns and handguns, and they had a shootout with the cops for a couple hours.
Broke out of their kids' home. They were in a children's home, and they broke out and broke into this house that just happened to have all these guns. Yeah, she's like, what was it? I'm about to get GTA up in this bitch, and starts blasting away with an AK-47 at the cops. It's nuts, the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah, and then I guess they ended up having to shoot the girl, and as soon as they did, the little boy, I think reality set in, and he didn't want to play no more. Once he saw his friend there laying on the ground with a big old hole in her chest, he decided, yeah, I'm done playing. Dropped his guns and started bawling, and yeah, that was it. But yeah, I mean, the cops, and it was really sad watching from the cops. He kept saying, "Please stop." Not even to the children, just like speaking to
praying.
Creator. Yeah, please stop. Please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. Please stop. Please stop. Yeah, it was sad. It really was. But yeah, it's crazy, the stuff that happens.
Yeah, that's what I saw with these police as well. They did not were not in any way wanting to do shoot this guy, and he was egging him on. He's like, "Yeah, come on, shoot me." He didn't care. But yeah, they I would not want to be in their position at all. That's for sure. In those sort of circumstances.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have mad respect for the police too. I wouldn't want to do that job at all. But they serve a very, important function in our society. They do. Now, has it gotten out of control? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Can it be remedied? Yes. But again, citizens need to be active in their community. We need to hold people accountable. And know your rights. That's the most important part. Know your rights. Don't listen to what the television tells you.
Yeah, I was explaining that to someone today. I'm like, everyone thinks these, atomic bombs, even though they're not real, but, these sort of big weapons and things like that are, the biggest weapon we've got. I'm like, nah, it's in everyone's house. It's the TV. That's the biggest weapon that's ever been invented.
Absolutely. Yeah, picture's worth 1,000 words, and they send, 60 of them at you every second?
Every second.
And it's not so much the pictures that you see that do all the real damage. There's a lot of stuff that, our conscious minds don't see going on. And that's where the crazy programming and all that kind of stuff comes into play.
Well, do you remember that? I know it barely, but there was a sort of an experiment where they was changing the frame rates of TVs to see if people could, pick it up at a higher rate and things like that.
For sure.
And after a few watches, they were able to. Do you remember anything about that?
I know that there was a lot of testing being done down at the University at Texas about the frame rate and the frequencies in the televisions. I'm not sure specifically to the one where they were able to start picking them up. That's really interesting, though. But
I think it wasn't the first time. It was like, sorry.
I think we only can see at like 25 frames per second. So when you start getting things up to like 60 frames a second, there's all sorts of room in there to play with. to adjust what it is you're feeling about what you're seeing. Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I remember people recording their television in like super slow motion and seeing images flash up every so many seconds. Weird, crazy writing and
That They Live type stuff on the national anthem, where they're playing the words at the bottom.
Yeah, the words as they're changing into other words, there's a hidden message in between them.
Uh-huh.
And that was what, in the 60s?
Had been late 60s, early 70s, yeah. Maybe mid 70s at the latest.
Yeah, I remember Crow and Baldini were talking about that, and they were going to try and do some experiment. I don't know if it ever got off the ground, but yeah, like set up a camera in front of your TV and just, I mean, it sounds like a fair bit of work to actually go through, especially if it's in slow motion, but trying to pick up any sort of sigil or something that's been embedded in the programs.
Early on, like probably as we were still struggling, trying to figure out what Iron Realm was going to be, there was a video that I watched that was talking about a lot of this stuff and some of the stuff that had been picked up by people doing just that, or just accidentally, filming something in the living room with the kids, and in the background the TV is playing and you see this shit flash, and it's like classic sigils. But there's this one during an NBA game, or maybe it was a baseball game, this white image shows up, and it is time for a break, apparently, and we'll figure out what it was after this.
This is the Ironworx. We shall be right back after this. Stick around. Fourth and final segment coming up.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? ILife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ialife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I mean, I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
Dowsing is the ancient science of finding water and metal underground. Albert Einstein said that dowsing was tapping into earth energies which modern science as yet does not understand. Diamonds, silver, gold, and platinum objects have all been found using dowsing. And now, for the first time on film, we visit the pyramids, Stonehenge, and ancient sites, dowsing for buried treasure and tapping into this mysterious Earth energy.
The Enigma Channel. Intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail. Truth Frequency Radio.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you." If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work.
And welcome back to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Just a reminder, we are going live this evening on Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Realm Media YouTube channel, where we will have very special guests, plural. We're going to have a Grunk Mac, Terrestrial Mac, sitting in with us this evening. TJ, there in chat, going to be hanging out with us this evening as our very special guest, Stuffed Beagle, Beegs from the Stuffed Beagle channel comes on. Something that you arranged for us, Lucas. So thank you so much for that. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be great.
But Walter, you were talking to us about some weird sigils and things.
I was indeed, and as I was speaking, I decided to go find it. And as always, with a gazillion things, easier said than done. Anyway, pick a sigil, and it was basically there on this page. Crosses.
Super Bowl, I think is. I do remember because it was
Super
like
Bowl. See, maybe something like that. I'm going to find it. I will find it because it's pretty brain breaking.
Yeah,
baseball game.
Was it
I
baseball?
think it was baseball. I really do remember baseball too.
Pretty sure it was a Cubs game, and it was like right after the. No, I've been looking for it this whole time.
I
can't find
it.
Real easy to find too.
I know. I have it somewhere. That's where I finally resorted to digging through my stuff because I can't find it anywhere online, as we spoke about earlier in the show. Harder and harder to find the stuff.
It was something they were supposed to flash real fast, and I think it got stuck.
That's what I remember.
It was just white sigils all over like the whole screen, right in the center of the screen, where you would be focusing your attention.
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't go. It just stuck there for like a while. Yeah, that was weird.
Oh,
So what was the sigil? Did I miss it? Or are you trying to find it?
I'm finding it. So is Zach. We're going to find it.
It wasn't just a sigil. It was a whole.
It was all of them. It was like every one of them. Pick one. It was there. It was crazy.
Well, what sort? Like, in what vein? Like,
here we go. I think I just found the folder. It's going to have to be in because this is that era. Come on, please be in here.
Yeah, I just spent like 15 as soon as we started for it. And it used to be really easy to find on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sigils Major League Baseball game. That's all you'd have to type in. And now it shows you a bunch of Minecraft stuff and how to make sigils. And I used a sigil on my ex and it backfired and blah blah, all this crazy crap. Where it used to actually just take you right to the video. Thanks, YouTube.
Thanks, YouTube. Stick it.
Although I gotta say, it's probably really hard to refine searches any sort of way. I mean, how many videos do you think they have that would show up if they didn't try to refine it in some way? I mean, I don't think it's done for our good at all, but I think that it'd be just impossible. Just think of how many thousands of pages you might have to scroll through because of all of the videos that people upload in the last month that might talk about sigils. And then you factor in the last decade.
Yeah, that's true.
The last
if you throw
dozen
baseball
years.
in there, how many of them have the word baseball in the title?
Aha, ladies and gentlemen, we have success. I knew if I dug.
Now, where'd you find it? In your file?
No, this is my stuff. Yeah, are y'all seeing my screen?
This is your homework for the week.
See my screen?
Yeah, I can see it, but it's small.
Internet.
No, I'm going to get there. This appeared on the screen in the middle of a baseball game. Yeah. Because, All America, baseball, apple pie, and satanic images. So there it is. Yeah.
I see towers all over the place. The tree of life in the center. The snake going up around it. Wow.
And there's versions, there's variations of each one, like the caduceus on the left and the caduceus on the right are two different ones. The one on the right, I don't know. The one on the left looks like the medical one.
The compass and square on the left.
The snakes are all out of.
They're all wacky, right? The ones that are right are the ones on the one I don't know. The ones that are on the one I know are all out of whack. Right. I just noticed that. Holy shit. That's crazy. And then if you look at the bottom row of stuff, 1, 2, 3 from the right, that little circle with the 4 little U shapes, that was 100 years ago when I said, hey, maybe the Earth has 4 magnetic points instead of just the one. It's from that little picture next to the King's Cup and next to the square, right between those, that circle with the 4 U shapes. That was way back when we were all still, like I said, trying to figure out what Iron Realm was. 2016.
And the snake around the cup, that's a trippy one too.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts too.
I don't know.
Everybody we're all doing this with the knowledge of this is stuff that can't affect us, and don't let this get in your head. Revoke. You have no power over us. Also, the 2 versions of the Horus eye are kind of interesting. The facing both directions with the eye above. Yeah, very interesting. The fleur-de-lis is also something that is rampant in my little state of Louisiana, right there next to the compass and square.
Yeah, see, a lot of those I don't actually see as very bad anyway. Like, even like the pentagram, that's just...
Yeah, well
it's got the fire ratio in it, and that's found through all nature. So, I don't know. I wouldn't even know what the point I was showing that would be.
Whatever it does, it's doing to all of us right now. Everybody turn away. I'm going to use this in the show picture, and y'all can all dig in deep. Okay. All right, let me stop sharing. Oh, there's the picture of the UFO I caught too. Y'all remember that? That thing that flew in front of my drone? No, nobody remembers that. Look, this was taken by my drone as it flew next, like right in front of the camera. This little image. This little thing flew by my drone. It was definitely a flying object that flew by my drone as it was ascending over here by my house. It wasn't an idiot. I've looked online for about 6 months trying to find a bug that could be an explanation for this, but there was not one. It looked like a little tinier drone flying by my drone is what it looked like. I'll find the video. Yeah, I'll find the video. This is an awesome folder to have found again. Anyway, let's get off my folder. This is a radio show, so it is radio.
Crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
A live baseball game. I'm almost positive it was on WGN. It was a Cubs game.
Wow, you were a detailed dude. That's awesome. You're right, sir. I remember after you said all that, I remember it now, but I couldn't have pulled it up from my memory bank.
Yeah, I can't tell you who was at bat or who was pitching, anything like that. But
dude, right? He knows that guy's RBI. No, all right.
I used to know stuff like that, man. Brain cells on all that sports stuff. Yeah, I was definitely in the cult of sports for sure. Yeah, it's God, they grab us so many different ways, don't they? Anything you want, we got a poison for you.
Yeah. It's that
I've been listening to a lot
octopus,
of the,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. I've been listening to a lot of the Crow stuff on Rose 777's channel. She's been showing a lot of stuff of his, like the first hours that he puts out on YouTube. She's been replaying them, and I love the title she gives them because she doesn't want YouTube to go looking into it. She'll put sweet fluffy kittens giving you kisses all day or something like that, and that'll be the title of her video. But then you go in and it's a Crow 777 episode where they're laying down all kinds of truth bombs on you. Yeah, it's great.
So for that random person who's looking up cat videos, stumble across Crow.
That's awesome. I love it. Oh my goodness. Kind of a great idea.
We got sent something from a gentleman out there. I was wondering if we might be able to play this. I think it's only like 2 minutes long, but that flat fellow has been putting together some amazing content from flat earthers all across the plane and sharing it with us. And this, I don't know why, if it took me back to my Sesame Street days or what, but I got such a kick out of these guys. They're Muppets that rap. And it's just awesome. And the stuff they rap about is, it's just truth bomb after truth bomb after truth bomb. It's so talented, the people in this community. We're the music makers, folks. We're the dreamers of the dream. It's true. Those that don't have eyes to see, they just don't. I don't think they can do the things that we do. Yeah, know you're special. Know it. I don't like feeling that way, but the more I look at, people who I know aren't ignorant, family members, friends that can't see things that are 2 inches in front of their face that you point out to them. Whether they refuse to see it or they can't see it, either way, they're different than you are. You have chosen, to take reality at what it is. And some people can't do that. I don't know why. I wish I knew how to snap them out of it. But yeah, you have a gift. Don't let it just go to waste. You don't have to share it with anybody, but don't ever lose that gift. I've seen it happen to people who were so awake and could see. And I talked to them 5 or 6 years later, and they were left of Lenin on the liberal scale, and totally brainwashing and just into the whole politics and the whole West Coast ideology. He moved out west and turned into a totally different person. He was one of the most enlightened people I knew. When he left here, he was into Buddhism and wanting to become a shaman and all this spiritual and natural stuff. And he went out there and just totally changed. And I don't think he can see anymore. I really don't. I mean, he was having pictures of himself on Facebook wearing a mask, being proud of it. So that should tell you all you need to know. So I think we can lose this. You know, it's like any other muscle. You stop flexing it, you stop exercising it, it goes away. You have to stay vigilant. Yeah, you are special. There's something different about you from most of the people out there. And it's a good thing. It is. All right, my rant's over. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
Thanks from everyone listening.
Yeah, no doubt. That was awesome, brother. Needed. Much needed.
All right, let's check this out.
The world is flat. Yeah. Look, let me speak with some facts. Sit back and relax, cause the world is flat. And some of y'all already know that. First case to settle. The surface of rest and water is flat and level. The first 70% of water is flat. It can't be a ball. Shout out to your squares. This one's for y'all. Just like ships don't go over a curve, they just go beyond the eyesight we observe. That's called angular resolution. Just use the telescope and bam, that's your solution. Even high altitude balloons show no curvature. It shows a flat earth, true and pure. All those curve effects shown by the mainstream. Shot through a fisheye lens for you lame things. Also, there's no pictures of Earth from space, just Photoshop posted for the human race. Robert Simmons, the one who make it for NASA. Yeah, he's the Photoshop master. And for all you scientists, here's a no-brainer. Can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum without a container. How do we have an atmosphere next to a vacuum of space? Especially with no barrier in place. Second law of thermodynamics, that's what prevents that. But y'all stay spitting your theories and passing as fact. So here, take your science back.
We can see too far, all those twinkly stars. Learning the truth's our journey. Open your eyes, don't worry, 'cause we can see the truth laid before the proof. And now you know, so round we go.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was good shit.
I love it. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you to the gentleman who put that together.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe he said he's got a couple more already in the works, ready to go, totally produced. You know, it's just, you don't want to put everything out right away. You don't want to put videos out day after day after day and then not have anything for a while. So, yeah, I think he has enough to do 5 already, he said, like enough material. Yeah, so, yeah, just hold on. They're just getting started. The Kakalaki crew and the stuff they're doing is just amazing. Mad respect to all y'all out there.
Yeah, that's good. Spread it out. Keep it going like that. So more material comes in slowly. That's good.
Yeah, it's taken off. It really is.
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine trying to do that 5 years ago. Trying to find enough people to put together, you know, stuff like that with that kind of content quality. Yeah, good stuff. I know we've eaten up this show.
I just looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like getting to be daylight out here for me. So it's got to be day for you. Sun has arrived. Fiat Lux, indeed.
You didn't even get to break out the carrot or the banana.
Oh, yeah,
It's radio again, Rick.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll play with my toys later.
Save
no,
it for
if I do
tonight.
that, no. We have a guest. I don't want to distract people from playing. It's bad. It's really bad when you get new toys. Oh, speaking of, thank you. Shout out, Hori. I saw you there in chat, brother. Y'all go check out the Hori Sheet show. If you have not done so, please do so. And I saw you guys all in chat, tried to say hey. I know I lost the thread and I started doing some gathering and got sidetracked. Then the sigil hunt began, and there I was. So, but I will include those pictures there in the show description, so you all can get as mesmerized as I was. Don't forget this afternoon, as said, we will have Biggs and we will have TJ in the mix. Who TJ's been doing a lot of little live things early in the morning. I don't know if he's planning on going live here in a few after we get off here, or if he's going to rest up for this afternoon show, or what's going to happen. But as I've discovered it, I've definitely popped it on in the background while I was doing stuff around the house, man. It's been good to hear you groove. Thank you.
Yeah, he's been doing lots of stuff. There's a site called Sessions. He's been over there doing some live stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds of stuff on YouTube and Odyssey. I think Odyssey is where he's trying to pump all this stuff up over there, which is ideal. I really do think we have to abandon YouTube here one of these days. We've said it for years, and we've picked up other platforms, but we've never abandoned YouTube. But
Yeah, it's hard to walk away where you started, but it just seems to be the only choice that makes any sense anymore. So who knows what's going to come in the future, but definitely we're here. We're not going anywhere. We'll just have to figure out where we're going to be. How about that?
I'm still waiting to hear back from Rockfin.
Yeah, myself as well. I think lots of folks are.
Yeah, probably so.
They got swamped, right?
Which is a good thing, you know. Hopefully this platform will grow to where we can get so many people over there that we won't even need YouTube anymore. And even if you don't want to, you know, pay the $10, and if you can't afford it or whatever your reasoning is, you can still go to Rockfin and sign up for free and still get all the other content. The only thing you don't get is the premiered, you know, the creators get to choose which ones go as the pay ones. So like Glowbusters, their Sunday show is a pay one, half of the last half of it, but the Wednesday show will be on Rockfin still, and all of the old Glowbusters are being uploaded to Rockfin. The ones that we can't upload to YouTube because they were struck and taken down already are being uploaded to Rockfin. So all the old stuff is still going to be over there. There's going to be all kinds of stuff you can go and watch for free on Rockfin, just like here on YouTube. There's only certain things that you can't watch for free. So this site still could take over YouTube if we get enough people over there and enough. And I mean, you don't want to see a billion people over there because then you're talking about, you know, kitten videos and stuff like that. We don't want that. We don't want all the nonsense either. All the troll videos. You don't find that stuff over there. So it's a new platform that is, you know, censored for truthers before you can even start putting out content on that. You have to be a well-established, you know, you can't just go and put videos on Rockfin. You have to go through an application process. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing. It's a good idea, and it's, you know, one step away from the beast system of YouTube. You know, I think eventually we're going to even get more and more platforms that are, things evolve. But we need to get away from YouTube. That's, without a question, a necessity. So yeah, I like Rockfin. It's not too shabby right now. They got some work to do on their apps and stuff like that, and in their chat. And this stuff takes time. YouTube wasn't built in a day either. But as long as they keep progressing towards, getting the truth out there and things like that without any censorship, then I'm all for that, no matter how it has to be done. Okay, I gotta shut up. We're about done. Love y'all.
Dang, I guess it is about that time.
Yeah, we have done it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. Come hang out a little bit later in the day. Oh, about 11 hours, I guess, from now. Something like that.
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone.
Thank y'all.
Been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for participating in our little experiment that we're going to try to make more of. These little moments of silence where we can sort of send out some energy, maybe just take a moment, refocus ourselves, whatever it is. So just take that, carry it with you today. Every time you think of it, just take a beat, blast out some love and some energy.
Lots of love threads.
That's it. Lots of love threads. We hope things start to look up for you there in New Zealand. Anyway, this is the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We will see you on our YouTube channel this evening for Have No Sphere. In the meantime,
Thanks,
you guys
love y'all.
have a great rest of your weekend and a great rest of your week. Be good. Be well. We love you.